My best friend asked me one night, and my heart answered before I did. The rain came without warning that October evening. One moment Maya and I were walking through the park, laughing about something ridiculous from work, and the next, the sky opened up and drenched us completely. "My apartment is closer," she shouted over the thunder, grabbing my hand and pulling me into a run. We'd been best friends for 5 years. Since our first day at the marketing firm where we both still worked, Maya was everything I wasn't. Confident, outgoing, fearless. She had guys falling over themselves to date her, while I preferred the quiet safety of our friendship. I'd never told her how I really felt. How could I? She was my best friend, and I couldn't risk losing that. So I'd buried those feelings deep, content to just be near her, to hear her laugh, to be the person she called when she needed someone. We stumbled into her apartment, soaking wet and gasping for breath. Maya immediately started laughing. That beautiful, uninhibited laugh that always made my heart skip. "We look like drowned rats," she said, pulling off her drenched jacket. "Speak for yourself," I teased, trying to wring water from my shirt. "I think I pull off this look." She threw a towel at my face. "Sure you do, Alex. Very fashion-forward." After we'd both changed me into some of her oversized clothes that barely fit my taller frame, we settled on her couch with hot chocolate. The storm raged outside, rain pelting against the windows, thunder rumbling in the distance. "I love nights like this," Maya said softly, curling up beside me. "When the world feels small and safe." "Yeah," I agreed, very aware of how close she was, how her shoulder was touching mine. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, just listening to the storm. This was what I loved most about our friendship. We didn't always need to fill the silence. We could just be, Alex? Maya's voice was quieter than usual. "Can I ask you something? And will you promise to be honest?" My heart started beating faster. "Of course." She was quiet for a moment, staring into her mug. "Do you ever feel like you're living the wrong life? Like there's something you want so badly, but you're too scared to reach for it?" I looked at her profile, the curve of her cheek, the way her wet hair was starting to dry in soft waves. "Yeah," I said softly. "I know exactly what you mean. What is it for you?" she asked, finally turning to look at me. Those eyes. Those impossibly deep brown eyes that I'd been drowning in for 5 years. Could I really tell her? "What's yours first?" She smiled sadly. "That's not how honesty works, Alex. I know, but ... I took a deep breath. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of losing what I already have." Maya set down her mug and turned fully toward me. "Alex, we've been friends for 5 years. You're my best friend, my person. Nothing is going to change that. You can't promise that," I said quietly. "Not when you don't know what I'm about to say. Try me." The storm seemed to intensify, as if matching the turbulence in my chest. This was it. I could keep hiding, keep playing it safe, or I could risk everything for the chance at something real. "You asked what I want, but I'm too scared to reach for," I began, my voice shaking. It's you, Maya. It's always been you." The silence that followed felt eternal. Maya's eyes widened, her lips parting slightly in surprise. She whispered. "I'm in love with you," I said, the words tumbling out now that I'd started. "I have been for years. And I know this probably ruins everything. I know you don't feel the same way. I know I should have kept my mouth shut. But you asked for honesty, and I stopped," Maya said, holding up her hand. "Just stop for a second." "Right." I stopped, my heart sinking. This was it. This was where I lost my best friend. "You've been in love with me for years?" she asked, her voice strange. "Yes. And you never said anything?" "How could I? You're my best friend, Maya. You're the most important person in my life. I couldn't risk losing you," she laughed, but it wasn't her usual laugh. It was almost ... bitter? "That's funny," she said, standing up and walking to the window. "That's really funny, Alex." "I'm sorry," I said, standing too. "I shouldn't have said anything. Can we just forget?" "No," she cut me off, turning around. There were tears in her eyes. "No, we can't forget it. Do you know why?" I shook my head, confused. "'Cause that was my answer too," she said, her voice breaking. "When I asked you what you wanted but were too scared to reach for, my answer was you." Time seemed to stop. The storm, the room, everything faded away, except Maya standing there with tears streaming down her face. "What?" I breathed. "I'm in love with you, you idiot," she said, laughing and crying at the same time. "I've been in love with you for years. Why do you think I've never had a relationship that lasted? Why do you think I always call you first, always want you around, always feel like something's missing when you're not there?" I couldn't move, couldn't think. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. "But all those guys you dated, none of them were you," she said simply. "I kept trying to move on, to find someone else, because I thought you only saw me as a friend. I thought I was alone in this." "You're not alone," I said, finally finding my voice. "God, Maya, you've never been alone in this." She crossed the room in 3 quick steps, and suddenly we were standing inches apart. I could feel the heat radiating from her body, could see the rapid rise and fall of her chest. "What do we do now?" she whispered. "I don't know," I admitted. "I never thought I'd get this far." She laughed softly, reaching up to touch my face. Her fingers were gentle against my cheek, and I leaned into her touch. "Can I tell you something else I've wanted for years?" she asked. "What?" "To do this," and then she kissed me. If I'd imagined this moment 1,000 times, I had none of those daydreams came close to the reality. Maya's lips were soft and warm, tasting like chocolate and rain. Her hands moved to my hair, pulling me closer, and I wrapped my arms around her waist, afraid that if I let go, this moment would disappear. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative, as if we were both afraid of breaking something precious. But then it deepened, years of longing and unspoken feelings pouring into it. Maya made a small sound in the back of her throat, and I thought my heart might actually explode. When we finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, she rested her forehead against mine. "That was ... double quotes," she started. "Oh," I agreed. "It was... Why did we wait so long?" she asked, her fingers still tangled in my hair. "Because we're idiots?" She laughed, that beautiful laugh that I loved so much. Yeah, we are." We stood there for a long moment, just holding each other, listening to the storm outside and the rapid beating of our hearts. "I'm scared," Maya admitted quietly. "Me too. What if we mess this up? What if we lose each other?" I pulled back slightly so I could look into her eyes. "Maya, we've already been in a relationship for 5 years. We just weren't kissing. We know how to fight and make up, how to support each other, how to be there for each other. The only thing that's changed is that now we get to do this." I kissed her softly. "And this." I kissed her again. "And this." She smiled against my lips. "I like this new part." "Me too." We moved back to the couch, but this time Maya curled up against me properly, my arm around her shoulders, her head on my chest. It felt right in a way that nothing ever had before. "Can we talk about it?" she asked. "About all the time we wasted. What do you want to know?" "When did you know that you loved me?" I thought about it. "Remember that time in our 2nd year when you got that horrible flu and I came over to take care of you? When I was disgusting and feverish and couldn't stop complaining? Yeah, you were lying on your couch, looking absolutely miserable, whining about how you were definitely dying, and I just... I looked at you and thought, I want to take care of this person forever, and it scared the hell out of me." Maya was quiet for a moment. "You brought me soup. Homemade soup. You remember that?" Of course I remember. Nobody had ever done something like that for me before. That was when I knew, too. I pulled back to look at her. "Wait, really?" She nodded. I was lying there feeling sorry for myself. You showed up with soup and medicine and those terrible romantic comedies I love, and you stayed the whole weekend, even though I insisted you'd get sick too. And I remember thinking, this is what love feels like. "We're really bad at this communication thing," I said. "The worst," she agreed. "But we're learning." "Tell me everything," Maya said, settling back against me. "Tell me about all the times you wanted to say something but didn't." So I did. I told her about the time she brought that guy, Marcus, to the company holiday party, and I had to watch her dance with him all night. About how every time she called crying over a breakup, I wanted to tell her she deserved better, that she deserved someone who would never let her go. About how I'd started avoiding double dates because watching her with other people was too painful. That explains so much, Maya said. I always wondered why you suddenly became busy whenever I suggested setting you up with someone. What about you? I asked. When did you almost tell me? She was quiet for a moment, her fingers tracing patterns on my arm. Remember your birthday last year? When we went to that fancy restaurant? The one where you insisted on paying? Yeah, you were talking about your ex, about how you felt like something was always missing in your relationships. And I almost said it right there. It's missing Beckos. It's not me, but tea. Then the waiter came, and the moment passed, and I convinced myself I was being ridiculous. I wish you'd said it, I told her. I wish I had too. We could have had a whole year of this already. Then let's not waste any more time, I said. Tilting her chin up so I could kiss her again, I woke up to sunlight streaming through Maya's windows. The storm had passed, leaving everything fresh and clean. Maya was still asleep, curled up against me on the couch where we'd eventually dozed off. Still talking and kissing and making up for lost time, I watched her sleep, marveling at the fact that this was real, that she was mine and I was hers, and we didn't have to hide anymore. Her eyes fluttered open, and she smiled when she saw me watching her. Morning, she said, her voice rough with sleep. Morning. Did last night really happen? She asked. Or did I dream it? I kissed her forehead. It happened, good, she said, snuggling closer. Because that was the best night of my life. Mine too. We lay there for a while, just enjoying being together, without secrets, without walls between us. What do we tell people? Maya asked eventually. The truth? That we've been idiots in love for 5 years and finally figured it out? Pretty much, yeah. She laughed. Rachel is going to kill us. She's been saying for years that we should date. Everyone has been saying that. We were the only ones who couldn't see it. The next few weeks were a blur of happiness. We told our friends, who reacted with varying degrees of finally, and we told you so. Work became more interesting because now I could steal kisses in empty conference rooms and hold her hand under the table during meetings, but the best part was the little things. Making breakfast together on Sunday mornings, the way Maya would steal my hoodies and refuse to give them back, how she'd text me random I love you messages throughout the day, the way we'd stay up late talking about everything and nothing, making up for all the conversations we'd held back from having. One night, about a month after the storm, we were back on her couch, which had become our spot. Can I tell you something? Maya asked, playing with my fingers. Always. I'm so glad it stormed that night. Yeah. I'd been building up the courage to talk to you for weeks. About us, about my feelings. But I kept chickening out. The storm kind of forced us together, forced me to finally ask, what would you have done if I hadn't felt the same way? I asked. She was quiet for a moment. Honestly, I don't know. Probably would have laughed it off, pretended I was talking about something else, and then gone home and cried. I would never have forgiven myself for making you cry. You've never made me cry, she said, except happy tears. Like right now. I looked down and saw her eyes were indeed glistening with tears. These are happy tears. I asked. The happiest, she confirmed. Because I have everything I ever wanted. My best friend, my love, my future, all in one person. 3 months after that stormy night, I took Maya back to the park where we'd gotten caught in the rain. It was a clear evening, crisp and cool, with stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Why did you want to come here? She asked as we walked along the familiar path. Because this is where it all changed, I said. Where we stopped running from the rain and started running toward each other. That's surprisingly poetic for you, she teased. I've been practicing. We reached the spot where she'd grabbed my hand that night, where she'd pulled me toward her apartment and, unknowingly, toward our future together. Maya, I said, turning to face her. When you asked me that night what I wanted but was too scared to reach for, my heart answered before I could stop it. It knew what my head was too afraid to admit, that you were everything I'd ever wanted, Alex. ... She started, but I pressed a finger to her lips. Let me finish. These past few months have been the happiest of my life. Not because anything big has changed, but because I get to love you openly now. I get to hold your hand in public, kiss you goodnight, wake up next to you and know that this is real. I pulled out a small box from my pocket, and Maya's eyes widened. It's not what you think, I said quickly. It's too soon for that, but I wanted to give you this. I opened the box to reveal 2 matching rings, simple silver bands with each other's names engraved inside. A promise, I said, that we'll never waste time hiding from each other again, that we'll always be honest, always be brave, always choose each other. Maya was crying now, happy tears streaming down her face. Yes, she said. Yes to all of it. I slipped 1 ring onto her finger, and she did the same for me. I love you, I said. I've loved you for 5 years, and I'll love you for 50 more. I love you too, she replied. Thank you for answering my question that night. Thank you for asking it. The first anniversary of the storm night, as we'd come to call it, was approaching. Maya and I had moved in together, adopting a cat who we named Thunder as a nod to the night that changed everything. We were planning a party, inviting all our friends who'd watched our love story unfold with knowing smiles and patient hearts. What should we tell people when they ask about our story? Maya asked one evening as we addressed invitations. The truth, I said. That my best friend asked me one night what I was too scared to reach for, and my heart answered before I did. She smiled. I like that. Me too. As I watched her write out addresses, humming softly to herself, I thought about all the what-ifs. What if the storm hadn't happened? What if she'd never asked that question? What if I'd been too scared to answer honestly? But then I realized it would have happened eventually. Love like ours doesn't stay hidden forever. It finds a way out, finds a way to bloom, even in the most unexpected moments. Maya looked up and caught me staring. What? She asked, smiling. Nothing, I said. Just thinking about how lucky I am. We both are, she said, reaching for my hand across the table. We found something most people spend their whole lives looking for. What's that? Home, she said simply. In each other. She was right. Because home wasn't a place. It was her laugh on a quiet evening, her hand in mine, her voice saying, I love you every day. Home was knowing that my best friend and my love were the same person, and that I'd never have to choose between them. The storm had passed, but what it left behind was worth every moment of thunder and rain. A love built on friendship, honesty, and the courage to finally reach for what our hearts had wanted all along, the end.